WTOP.
A one-day point loss record on Wall Street today. Layoffs hit a new high, almost all of it Doge cuts. I'm Jeff Clayton.
Traffic and weather in 30 seconds.
75% cyber attacks involve compromised privileged credentials. Is your federal agency protected? Weak passwords and poor privileged access controls leave your systems exposed, putting national security at risk. Keeper Security is the FedRAMP authorized, zero-trust, privileged access management solution built for protecting sensitive data and infrastructure. Meet federal security standards by securing access to every system, server, and database. Visit KeeperSecurity.com today.
It's 6:08.
Get a Precision AC tune-up for only $59.
Michael and Son.
Traffic and weather on the 8th and when it breaks with Dave Dildine in the WTOP Traffic Center.
In Virginia on I-66, eastbound still slow through Falls Church, westbound still congested near Centerville, and farther west between Haymarket and the Plains near Broad Run. Firefighters did find the vehicle they were looking for, and it's only one lane getting by them, I think, westbound on Route 15 past Haymarket. Fairfax County Parkway, police were dealing with an incident near Braddock Road. On Fairfax County Parkway, northbound you're getting by slowly other direction. Southbound should have both lanes at your disposal. It is just the evening delays we're used to on the Beltway. Outer loop slow Van Dorn to the Wilson. Inner loop from 123 across the Legion Bridge. We're in Maryland. Another one breaking down beyond Connecticut, called in on the left. And on Connecticut Avenue northbound had a crash reported near Jones Bridge Road. That was adding to delays for Chevy Chase northbound drivers. Northbound on 270, slow traffic through Gaithersburg. 95 heaviest southbound near 32. And Route 50, you're moving virtually without delay between the Beltway and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Brought to you by Fitzgerald Auto. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? It's a Kia. Fitzgerald Auto Mall welcomes a new brand of the family with Kia of Annapolis. Discover transparency you can trust in your new Kia at fitzmall.com. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
We go to 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve.
A few showers and isolated thunderstorms are on radar moving through the evening and into the overnight as temperatures fall to the 70s, eventually settling down to the 60s inside the Beltway. Tomorrow, after a mild start, we're not going to see a whole lot of traction with temperatures, 65 to 70 degrees with a chance for showers. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rubin, the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now we're at 75 in Gaithersburg, 77 in Arlington. We've got 78 in Lanham. Brought to you by Long Fence. Save 25% on decks, pavers, and fences. 6 months, no payment, no interest. Conditions apply. Go to longfence.com. WTOP's Money News, 10:40 past the hour. What a day. Jeff Clayball.
Wall Street's first day to react to sweeping tariffs globally. The Dow fell 1,679 points, a 4% drop. The S&P 500 down 274 points. That was 4.8%. The NASDAQ lost 1,050 points, its biggest one-day point loss ever. It was the equivalent of 6%. Early signs of a bear market. The Russell 2000 index has dropped 6% today and is down 21% from its last record. Ford has rolled out discounts for most vehicles to keep buyers coming, offering employee pricing, which means selling vehicles for less than dealerships pay. Ford has 74 days of tariff-free inventory left. Government layoff announcements in March total more than 216,000. Challenger, Gray, and Christmas says that pushed total layoff announcements to the third highest monthly total ever. Jeff Clayton, WTOP News.
Explore the tropics at Whole Foods Market with juicy savings on fresh fruits, plus indulgent island-inspired flavors all over the store through April 8th.
Coming up on WTOP, a whole lot going on tonight with the Wall Street meltdown, plus a new development with Signalgate. We'll break it all down with CBS News Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett next. 612.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax relief advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in the payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by tax relief advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. A-plus rated with a BBB and have over 1,000 five-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call thegrainger.com or just apply. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bills. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
At ICF, we work with government and industry on projects that create positive change in communities nationwide. Whether it's powering energy innovation, advancing health outcomes, or leveraging technology and AI for mission success, we work with clients to tackle their most complex challenges head-on. Our data-driven solutions are designed to deliver results faster and help organizations move forward with confidence. Let's build a more resilient world. Visit ICF.com. That's ICF.com.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, rewards members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
The top people in government get a daily briefing.
With all that's happening every day, you might ask, where's my daily briefing?
It's here. WTOP News helps you keep things straight.
Voices you trust, delivering the facts.
WTOP News. Watch, read, listen.
6:15, I'm Ann Kramer.
I'm Sean Anderson. Thanks for being with us.
WTOP's continuing coverage now. The meltdown on Wall Street. We've been telling you how stocks took a nosedive today. All three indices, the worst since the COVID outbreak happened back in 2020. Now, President Trump this afternoon, he was asked about Wall Street's reaction and about his tariffs. He says he thinks it's working. Here he is before he got on Marine One to head to Florida.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country's going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see is there any way they can make a deal.
Well, the markets disagreed. With us to give us some reaction here, CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett, who's full-time anchor of America Decides on the CBS News 24/7 streaming network. Good to have you back, Major. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you. And boom is one way to describe what happened on Wall Street. Maybe not the exact context the president was referring to. Look, I was listening to some of the wags on Wall Street. There are not a lot of comedians on Wall Street, but there are some traders who masquerade as one. And I heard one say today, well, if yesterday was Liberation Day, today was Liquidation Day. And that's not a good thing. Lots of stocks sold down today across the board. Energy stocks, retail stocks, bank and financials, even pharmaceuticals to a certain degree, even though they are, for the moment, not going to be affected by these tariffs. Lots of reaction on Wall Street, in part because the market thought, speculatively, that it priced in how bad the tariffs were going to be. They didn't. They're much worse than they thought, much worse than they were bracing for. And so now there's a sense of, okay, if this is a long-term tariff situation, how are other nations going to retaliate? And even if it's not, it's impossible to predict if the president will negotiate any of these things down. On Air Force One flying to Florida this afternoon, after those remarks you just played, the president said two things that don't line up. One, the operation is over and we need to let it settle in, suggesting these are permanent. In the very next breath, he said, everyone wants to negotiate with us. Well, is it a negotiation or is it permanent? And the markets don't know. Importantly, beyond the markets, companies trying to make investment decisions don't know. That's all creating more anxiety, and JP Morgan today increased its projection of a possible U.S. recession to 60%.
Other big story this afternoon was the acting inspector general of the Pentagon. Looks like they at least want to open investigation to Pete Hegseth and the whole Signalgate controversy over the app. How significant do you think this is, given the fact that a lot of us didn't even realize there were still any inspectors general left in the Trump administration?
Well, there are, not formal ones, not Senate-confirmed inspectors general, but there's an acting one, and that's important in the sense that this inspector general, even in an acting capacity, knows this is a serious matter. And it's being called an evaluation, not a formal world-like investigation, but there are all sorts of protocols that have to be evaluated here. Not just for Pete Hegseth, but the Pentagon knows that lots of people within the U.S. military and services have, at some level or another, access to things that either are or can be classified or regarded as sensitive. And if the defense secretary is held to a fundamentally different and far more lenient standard, that creates a problem within the entire Pentagon. Everyone I've talked to, and everyone that CBS News reporters, colleagues of mine have talked to in the military and national security and intelligence space keep saying this. If you don't have rigorous standards that apply to the top, what filters down is a sense of recklessness. Pentagon can't afford to have that happen, so there at least has to be an evaluation into what Pete Hegseth did and whether or not it conformed with known and existing protocols.
Thanks as always, Major. CBS News Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett.
To the traffic center we go, and to Dave.
Heading into Manassas on Route 28, southbound delays, and it's a crash reported south of Manassas Drive near Connor Drive. It might be a vehicle into a building there. There's a pretty heavy fire rescue response near the intersection and impinging on the intersection. Westbound on 66, just the normal slow traffic leaving Centerville, Manassas bound, but between Haymarket and the Plains, it's a backup where you might not have been expecting it. West of Route 15 and before Broad Run, firefighters are still dealing with one on a shoulder, but only one lane getting by westbound there at the Fauquier Prince William County line. Volume delays in the Beltway are pretty typical. Over in Montgomery County on the Interloop, a little bit slower, rolling past Chevy Chase. Had one sputtering out along the left near the Temple. Northbound on Connecticut Avenue near Jones Branch, the crash should be clear. Northbound past Jones Bridge Road, lane should be open. 270 northbound, just a little bit herky-jerky through Gaithersburg. Starting to clear out between the Beltways on 95, the VW Parkway. Southbound interstate traffic still a little bunched up near 175 and 32. Route 50's a breeze, going eastbound toward the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Lido Pizza has a square deal for you. A 14-inch cheese Lido Pizza with Italian salad for only $17.99. Order online at lidopizza.com. Dildine, WTOP traffic.
7 News First Alert meteorologist Mark Pena. Marco, on the lookout for some rain and some heavy weather tonight. What do you see right now?
Yeah, that threat for some strong storms is still on the table, but where we were in a slight risk earlier today, that's a 2 out of 5. We are now in a marginal risk, which is a 1 out of 5. So the overall threat, very isolated in nature, and mainly after sunset for the metro. The main concern we'll be watching out for will be the isolated storms capable of producing some damaging wind gusts and maybe some small hail. And this threat will be until about 11 o'clock tonight for the metro. I think a lot of us, though, staying dry as we've been for much of the day. It's been rather muggy outside as well. So the ingredients are there, but the overall pattern is favoring just an isolated severe storm threat through about 11 o'clock. After that, by tomorrow morning, very mild start to the day. Temperatures barely dropping below 60 degrees in a lot of neighborhoods. And the setup for the weekend is a strong front, and it's going to be close enough to where it'll act as a focal point for some isolated to scattered showers pretty much Friday through Sunday. But the dry conditions will certainly win out, but you'll want to make sure you keep the rain gear handy because you might get caught underneath one of those showers throughout any one of these particular days. Temperatures will be rather mild as well. Temperatures will be in the lower 70s for tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. It's not until a stronger cold finally sweeps all this away by Sunday night, and that'll pose a threat for more widespread showers and storms. But thankfully, by next week, we're looking at sunnier skies and seasonable temperatures. We're going to upper 50s to lower 60s heading into next Monday. Now, your radar right now mostly quiet, but the showers and storms that we are tracking are moving through West Virginia and eventually towards the I-81 corridor in the next couple of hours. Temperatures here in the metro, very warm. 80 degrees at Reagan National, at 79 in Woodlawn, and 76 right now with us.
Thanks, Mark. Brought to you by Sonesta Awnings by Lednor Home. Relax outside anytime. Awnings by Lednor Home gives you shade when you need it. 888-5HELMET or visit LednorHome.com.
More detail on the Wall Street meltdown next, 622.
March has arrived, and the countdown to our grand reopening continues at Select Auto Imports. Spring into luxury with unbeatable deals on over 100 pre-owned BMWs, Mercedes, Jaguars, Audis, and Land Rovers. Priced thousands below new car costs. Help us clear the lot before our grand reopening and save now. Selection, savings, service, and luxury are on full display at Select Auto Imports at thousands below new car prices. Visit us today on Van Dorn Street in Alexandria or online at selectautoimports.com.
Longing for an escape? Who isn't after a brutal winter? But you shouldn't have to break the bank on some island paradise vacation. Just step up your outdoor living space with a new fence, patio, or deck from Long Fence. Their crew of craftspeople will design and build the relaxing retreat you deserve. Now at 25% off. Terms and conditions apply. Go to longfence.com for a free estimate today. There's a long time late for quality.
Stadler's free tree planting sale is back. Now's the perfect time to plant trees for beauty, shade, and privacy, and to take advantage of our popular free tree planting sale. Buy any tree that is $200 or more between March 27th and April 27th, and we'll plant it in your yard free if you live within 30 miles of the nursery. Delivery and a 1-year warranty are included.
Stop by, shop online, or by phone. There's no need to meet with our landscape crew. Call 877-STAFFOR.
Breaking news on WTOP.
CBS News special report it was a wild ride on Wall Street today. The big three indices had their worst day since 2020. Stocks tanked the day after President Trump announced broad and deep tariffs on almost every country, something Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said will cause broad and deep pain.
Yesterday, the president made one of the dumbest decisions in history, one that will negatively impact every single American.
Trump said he knew the market would drop, but he says he thinks the tariffs will turn out to be good for America long term. Columbia University Business School professor Harry Mamaski says the markets responded so negatively because the tariffs were much higher than almost anyone expected.
People have been hoping for a smaller imposition of tariffs than what actually happened. And when they saw the magnitude of the tariffs, especially as they affect a lot of the Asian economies, I think people were a little bit spooked by the size of it.
CBS News special report. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Sports at 25 and 55 brought to you by Amentum, advancing the future together for the intelligence community.
Steve is back. We're talking about the Capitals' big night possible.
Big night possible tomorrow. Obi, the watch remains at 3 goals to break the scoring record. Obi and the Caps back to work tomorrow night. They'll host Chicago a 7 o'clock face-off at Capital One Arena. In case you're wondering about tickets, the reseller site's averaging right now about $152 for the least amount you're going to pay, meaning the higher sections, if you will. We do have NBA action tonight from downtown Wizards hosting Orlando. It'll be a 7 o'clock tip. Baseball Nationals back to work tomorrow. They'll host Arizona at Nats Park. That's a 7 o'clock start. American League action from earlier today in Camden Yards. Orioles beaten by the Red Sox 8-4. Boston taking 2-3 from Baltimore. NFL news according to ESPN. Commanders quarterback Marshawn Lattimore. He did wear number 23 in his first season with Washington. He's now switching to wear number 2. That's the very same number he wore at Ohio State. Let's see if that's not lucky for him. Steve Dresner, WTOP Sport.
All right, Steve, thanks. Coming up here on WTOP, we'll have more on one of the worst days on Wall Street in quite a long time. And then
Congress quickly reacts to sweeping tariffs with legislation to reassert powers involving trade. I'm Mitchell Miller, today on The Hill.
WTOP at 626.
At Adventist Healthcare Fort Washington Medical Center, we believe in compassionate expert care right here in your community. Whether it's an unexpected trip to our emergency department open 24/7, a routine checkup at primary care, or advanced treatment for diabetes, heart conditions, and more, our top-rated physicians provide world-class medical care close to home. Your health and well-being are our top priority. Schedule an appointment with one of our trusted health experts today. Visit AdventistFWMC.com/for-you to learn more. Adventist Healthcare Fort Washington Medical Center, bringing world-class care closer to you.
Thompson Creek Window Company designs, builds, and installs replacement windows without the middleman markup. You get high-quality windows at an affordable price direct from our local factory. Call now for our biggest sale of the year. Take advantage of our best prices and lowest monthly payments on all windows and doors for a limited time. Call 855-57-CREEK now.
Regional Business Insights features the D.C. Department on Disability Services, a member of the Greater Washington Board of Trade.
Mayor Muriel Bowser and the D.C. Department on Disability Services are committed to empowering residents with disabilities and helping businesses thrive. Through our Rehabilitation Services Administration, we help businesses learn and understand how to support employees with disabilities and offer free resources such as disability awareness training, cost-effective strategies to provide reasonable accommodations, and access to the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. Partner with us to create a more inclusive workplace. Visit des.dc.gov today and click on the Employer Portal tab to discover the perfect fit for your team.
The Greater Washington Board of Trade is pro-business and nonpartisan, where local leaders work together to drive inclusive, resilient, and sustainable economic growth for the region. Go to BOT.org to learn more about the important issues that Board of Trade members are tackling today. That's BOT.org.
6:28. Traffic and weather on the 8s. We'll head back to the traffic center and back to Dave.
Manassas Park. It's a rollover crash on Route 28 at Connor Drive, and that intersection is just south of the Maplewood Shopping Center. Southbound on 28, traffic slowly getting by to 66 westbound leaving Centerville toward Manassas. It's just a little lingering congestion, but west of Haymarket, traffic is very slow. Beyond 15, the stop and go leads to the fire department response to what was a vehicle fire. One lane getting by slowly toward Broad Run and Plains on 66. Volume delays the Beltway's inner loop from 123 to River Road, outer loop near 66 slow, and also from Van Dorn to Wilson Bridge. Over in Montgomery County, Maryland on the inner loop, sluggish from Old Georgetown Road past Connecticut Avenue. Broken down cars should be out of the way now on the shoulder. 270 shorter northbound slowdowns rolling out of Rock Hill through Gaithersburg. 95 to the Washington Parkway between Beltways, satisfactory, and Route 50 is in good shape between Beltway and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Brought to you by Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. The 5K Glow Walk and Run for Autism returns on Saturday, April 5th. Learn more about this sensory-friendly, accessible event at pgparks.com/glowwalk. Dave Dolan, WTOP Traffic.
Let's head on over to 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve Rhodes.
Temperatures will slowly fall through the 70s into the 60s overnight. As far as thunderstorms are concerned, a few may develop and capable of producing gusty winds and heavy downpours. Keep in mind, many neighborhoods will stay totally dry. Moving in tomorrow, end of the work and school week, temperatures will be in the 60s to around 70 with a chance for on and off showers. Morning showers on Saturday with highs in the upper 60s to middle 70s. By Sunday, it becomes a bit more humid with tracking a cold front later in the day. That may bring thunderstorms. Highs ahead of the front will be in the 70s. Behind the front will cooler for most of next week. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rubin. The first word weather center.
Clouds continue. We've got 78 at the Wharf in D.C., 77 in Oxon Hill, and Sterling, 75 degrees.
WTOP News Time 31.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
The WTOP producer's desk is wired by IBEW Local 26, where electrical contractors come to grow.
Good evening. I'm Ian Kramer.
And I'm Sean Anderson. Mike Chikaitis is our producer.
Breaking news on WTOP.
CBS News special report. The markets couldn't shake their jitters over President Trump's new tariffs. The Dow finished more than 1,600 points lower. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
This was the first day, a single day for all of the major indexes since 2020. And what was that, right? That was COVID. So investors were looking at the potential impacts of tariffs, and they felt somewhat similarly to what was happening during COVID.
CBS's Nancy Cordes at the White House, where they continue to insist this will pass.
They simply do not accept what most economists around the world, even right-leaning economists, are saying about these tariffs, which is that they will raise unemployment and raise prices for Americans.
Business reporter Jason Brooks on what some fear could come next.
Citibank analysts say ongoing tariff uncertainty will heighten the likelihood of a recession in the U.S.
CBS News special report. I'm Kathy McCoy.
Well, now the Capitol Hill, where there's been some swift reaction to, or there has been swift reaction, I should say, to the tariffs and market turmoil. A new bipartisan piece of legislation has been introduced in the Senate, and it would give Congress a larger role in the implementation of tariffs. WTOP's Mitchell Miller today on the Hill.
The trade bill is co-sponsored by Iowa Republican Senator Chuck Grassley and Washington State Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell.
This important reassertion of Congress's constitutional role is important so we have a strong voice in trade policy.
The legislation would require a president to notify Congress of plans to impose tariffs within 48 hours, and it would require congressional approval of tariffs within 60 days. Cantwell says Congress has a duty to the American people to stop actions that will do them harm. The introduction of the bill follows Senate passage last night of Virginia Senator Tim Kaine's bill that seeks to undo tariffs against Canada. On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
6:33, major news from the Pentagon today. The Pentagon Acting Inspector General is announcing an investigation into Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's use of the Signal app to discuss sensitive military operations. TLP National Security Correspondent J.J. Green.
The Pentagon Acting Inspector General announced today that an investigation into Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's use of the Signal messaging app to discuss the Houthi military operation that took place on March 15th has been launched. That, you may remember, was the situation where a reporter was accidentally invited to that chat group that included National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and others. Hegseth's office was notified today, and we reached out to the Acting Inspector General and asked about this, and they said the purpose of this memorandum or the investigation is to let them know that they're conducting an evaluation, is what they call it, into a March 26th letter that they got from the chairman and ranking members of the Senate Armed Services Committee asking that they conduct an inquiry into the reporting that Secretary of Defense Hegseth used an unclassified, commercially available messaging app to discuss information pertaining to military operations. We asked the Pentagon about that, and they responded saying, per our long-standing policy, we don't comment on ongoing investigations, and they referred us to the DOD. IG.
It's WTOP National Security Correspondent J.J. Green.
Meantime, President Trump fired 6 National Security Council staffers. The firings came just a day after Trump met with far-right activist Laura Loomer in the Oval Office. Loomer reportedly blasted those staffers in the meeting, including National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. The New York Times reports the 9/11 conspiracy theorist, 9/11 conspiracy theorist, I should say, also laid out a list of people she believed were disloyal to the president and urged him to fire those who she thinks are insufficiently committed to his agenda.
The legal battle over President Trump's deportation of more than 200 Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador under a rarely used 18th century wartime law played out in a federal courtroom here in D.C. today. District Judge James Boasberg says he believes the Trump administration violated his order to turn those deportation fights around. Now he's looking at ways to punish those in the administration who seemingly thumb their nose at it.
The judge repeatedly asked a Justice Department lawyer for the names of the officials who decided to ignore his order that the planes be turned around in midair. The government's attorney said he simply didn't know. Judge James Boasberg says he's determined to find out, and he may call for sworn testimony as he decides whether to hold anyone in contempt. Boasberg says he believes the administration acted in bad faith, quickly loading 2 planes full of alleged Venezuelan gang members for flights to El Salvador in the hours after he scheduled a hearing on a motion to block them.
It's ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portman.
Coming up in Money News after traffic and weather.
Who's new to DC's billionaire list? I'm Jeff Brittle.
And then
several people are in the hospital after a mass stabbing in Northeast DC. I'm Scott Gelman.
At 6:36.
Federal News Network is celebrating its 25th anniversary by sharing 25 transformative moments in government. Presented by Carosoft, your trusted IT solutions provider.
Federal agents
agencies have more office space than they need, but they've taken steps to cut underutilized office space over the past few administrations. More on that in just a moment.
Carahsoft and its reseller partners accelerate the future with advanced multi-cloud solutions from AWS, ServiceNow, Red Hat, Trellix, and Google Cloud, empowering federal agencies to do more and achieve more. See them all at Carahsoft.com/multicloud.
The federal government remains the largest owner of real estate in the country, but it's spent more than 20 years trying to cut building space and the cost of maintaining it. Those efforts gained momentum under the Obama administration. In 2013, the Office of Management and Budget issued a memo freezing the federal real estate footprint. 2 years later, it released a Reduce the Footprint policy focused on the disposal of excess and underutilized office space. Former Public Building Service Commissioner Norman Dong says the 2015 policy was the first time OMB set a government-wide policy to use property as efficiently as possible.
They recognized how the federal real estate footprint was just continuing to grow, and something else they recognized was that the government doesn't even know how many owned and leased properties it has.
Jory Heckman, Federal News Network.
Discover more now about this moment and others at top25.federalnewsnetwork.com.
For over 87 years, GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, has offered health and dental benefits designed to meet the unique needs of federal employees and retirees, military retirees, and their families. With over 2 million members and growing, GEHA continues to serve those members and families who serve all of us every day. At GEHA, your health is not our business. It's our purpose. Learn more at GEHA.com. That's GEHA.com.
6:38. Time for traffic and weather on the 8th. It's time for Davies in the traffic center.
Fairfax County Parkway, Route 123. It's a multi-car crash. At least 2 with airbags off. And on 286 on the County Parkway, you get by the response to the right in both directions. Manassas Park on Route 28. Southbound delays lead to a rollover crash that happened south of Manassas Drive. And the right side is blocked with 1 car on its side. 66 westbound, some slow traffic past 28 and towards 29 out of Centerville. Lanes are open on the interstate, but farther west, it's a slowdown beyond 15 in Haymarket. About a mile west of the diverging Diamond interchange, it is the remains of a car fire and only 1 lane getting by. Westbound on I-66 near the Prince William Fauquier County line. On the Beltway, out-of-loop traffic still slow from Eisenhower to Wilson and Interloop from 123 to the American Legion Bridge. And in Maryland, still crowded on the Interloop between 355 and Georgia Avenue. 270 northbound, slowdowns are much shorter in Montgomery County now as rush hour delays fade. 95 in the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, decent. Route 50 is good between the Beltway and Bay Bridge. And the district still heavy. Southbound on 395 over the southwest waterfront. We'll slow southbound to I-295 near Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. Brought to you by Live Nation. Experience Hendrix like never before. Music's greats performing together live on Saturday, April 5th at the Water Theater. Tickets at livenation.com. I'm Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Let's go to PJ Fitzpatrick Home Improvement Weather Desk with their lifetime warranty on materials and labor. Trust PJ.com. 7 News First Alert meteorologist Steve Rubin.
Moving through the evening and into the overnight, a few showers and thunderstorms will dot radar. Some may contain some brief gusty winds along with heavy downpours. Our temperatures aren't going to drop much in the 60s by early tomorrow morning. Highs tomorrow 65 to 70. That's it with cloudy skies. There's a chance for a few showers. Morning showers will draw to a close midday Saturday. Highs upper 60s to middle 70s. A cold front on Sunday will bring colder temperatures next week. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rubin, the First Alert Weather Center.
Clouds remain temperature-wise still near 80, 78 in Springfield, 77 degrees in Laurel.
WTOP's Money News at 10 and 40 past the hour. Back we go to Jeff Clavel.
Wall Street's first day to react to sweeping White House tariffs. The Dow finished the day down 1,679 points. That was a 4% loss. The S&P 500 lost 274 points today, 4.8%. The NASDAQ finished the day down 1,050 points, its biggest one-day point loss ever. That was the equivalent of 6%. Dodge Jeep maker Stellantis is idling 2 assembly plants in Canada and Mexico now, laying off close to 5,500 workers, including 900 in the U.S. with ties to those plants. Mark Zuckerberg's now a D.C. homeowner. Politico confirms Facebook's founder is the mystery buyer of a $23 million mansion in D.C.'s Normanstone neighborhood. Zuckerberg's neighbors include Peter Thiel, Kellyanne Conway, and Steve Mnuchin. Jeff Lego, WTOP News.
Thank you, Jeff. It's 6:42. We continue to follow developments this afternoon in a neighborhood in Northeast D.C. Several people are in the hospital this evening. A man is in custody after a mass stabbing happened in the Trinidad neighborhood. WTOP's Scott Gelman has the story.
It started around 3:30 here along Montello Avenue near Gallaudet University in D.C.'s Trinidad neighborhood. Police Chief Pamela Smith says a man was walking with a woman when he started stabbing himself and then her with a knife.
The suspect then stabbed others standing outside in the block. Two Good Samaritans, and we're very grateful for them this afternoon, tried to intervene in the suspect's assault and were among those who was injured.
4 women and 2 men were taken to the hospital with injuries police are describing as non-life-threatening.
It appears that the suspect was in an altered mental state from an unknown substance.
The suspect was arrested, and Smith says their investigation is ongoing. In Northeast, Scott Gelman, WTOP News.
Stay with us here on WTOP. Coming up, Alex Ovechkin is just a hat trick away from breaking the National Hockey League's all-time goal record. We'll talk with Caps TV play-by-play man Joe Beninati next at 6:43.
Pepco can help your business save energy and money. Upgrade to energy-saving equipment and get financial incentives of up to 50% of project costs. Learn more at pepco.com/save more.
Hey, we're ready on this end. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, team, forget everything you thought you knew about IT, because with Red River, we got ourselves a game changer here.
Red River reimagines the possibilities of technology, enabling organizations to transform beyond the expected. From AI and cybersecurity to cloud, collaboration, and modern infrastructure, Red River delivers more than technology transformation. We deliver business and mission outcomes. Technology decisions aren't black and white. Think red. Learn more at redriver.com.
There once was a tub made of tile, moldy, cracked, and missing grouts all the while. But in no time at all, a new shower was installed. Now thanks to long paths, we can smile.
It's Katie from Long Home. For almost 80 years, my family's been helping families just like yours turn their houses into homes. Transform your outdated bathroom with a new bath or shower today and save up to $1,800 with no interest and no payments for 18 months. Learn more at longhome.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
The WTOP app has all kinds of handy new features.
Like a feedback tool, so you can send us your newsworthy photos, videos, and messages.
Then you'd be a reporter too. Welcome to the WTOP team.
Download it wherever you get your apps.
Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Visit NavyFederal.org. Insured by NCUA.
6:45. I'm Ann Kramer.
And I'm Sean Anderson. Thanks for being with us.
Excitement is building all around Washington Capitals captain Alex Ovechkin. He is now only 3 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goal record after lighting the lamp last night.
Strong coordinating Ovechkin. One time, he scores! The chase is as easy as 1, 2, 3 now.
That's Joe Beninati of Monumental Sports Network announcing Ovechkin's 892nd goal. It was the Caps' only goal of last night's 5-1 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Well, next game is tomorrow night at home against the Chicago Blackhawks. And Joe Beninati joined us a little earlier here on WTOP to talk about Ovi's potential milestone and the possibility he might do it with a hat trick tomorrow night.
You think about the last major milestone to get to 800, right? And he did it in 3 goals in Chicago. So there might be something afoot there. This is a guy, when he gets around these major milestones and records, I'll use a football analogy. He has a great nose for the goal line. He finishes really, really strong. It wouldn't surprise me. Nothing this guy ever does after 20 seasons of watching him ever really does surprise me. But you sit there and go, is he really doing this at age 39? He's doing it, and he's flourishing.
Hey, Joby, wondering for people who maybe not are following hockey and don't know about this, what are the other teams doing? Are they rooting for Ovi as well through all this? I would assume so.
I don't know about rooting, but they're definitely respectful, and there's no doubt in this day and age, the hardest thing to do in the sport of hockey is score goals. Goaltenders are so much better than they were. Defenders defend much more strictly than they did. Defensive coaches implement game plans to limit goal scoring, and yet this is a player who is rocketing towards an all-time record held by the greatest player to ever play the game. So it's extraordinary what he's doing, and wherever we go, whether it be coaches, fellow media, scouts, players themselves, they're all incredibly respectful of this achievement and what's on the verge of incredible greatness.
Joe, the Caps have had such a wonderful season to this point, and they're trying to get to home ice advantage throughout the entire playoffs. Yet they've hit a little rough stretch here. Is the goal-scoring mark here by Ovi maybe getting in the way? Not so much that they don't want him to score. Obviously, they need him to score, but maybe they're sitting around watching him?
I don't think so, Sean. I think one hand washes the other there. When the Caps play well, Ovechkin tends to score. When Ovechkin scores, they tend to play well and win. Now, last night, notwithstanding, and I understand what you're speaking about. I'm going to refer to this as a little hiccup or a speed bump with losses in 4 or 5. It's at the point of the season now where they've been so dramatically good for so long. Maybe there's a hint of boredom with the regular season, with the Stanley Cup playoffs just a couple weeks away. I think you can finally see that light at the end of the tunnel. That's when it really matters. This team's been so good, I would expect them to ramp back up. You want them to be playing well as we get into that opening round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Right now they're not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they know what the reasons are and how to correct them.
It's Caps TV play-by-play man Joe Beninati. We want to hear from you as the Great Eight continues his historic quest. Send your words of encouragement and thanks through the WTOP app. You can use the feedback button in the navigation bar.
6:48. Let's head back to the WTOP Traffic Center and head back to Dave.
In Virginia on Route 123 at Fairfax County Parkway, the crash, several cars damaged, airbags and all. On Ox Road, traffic gets by to the right in both directions. 66 westbound at Haymarket, beyond 15. Burned vehicles on the shoulder, but it was only one lane getting by the remaining response toward the Plains. Route 28 southbound in Manassas at Connor Drive, 2-car crash, one overturned. The right side was blocked on 28 south of Manassas Drive. George Washington Parkway, southbound between 123 and the Overlooks. You are stopped. It's a disabled car in a bad spot in the most constricted part of the work zone. No shoulders, no refuge, and no way for southbound drivers to get by. And access has been difficult for Park Police, so they're working on it. Northbound from Spout Run, you're unaffected. Beltway, it's volume delays on the Outer Loop, Telegraph to the Wilson Bridge, and Interloop from the Toll Road across the Legion Bridge. In Montgomery County, still slow on the Interloop from 355 past the Temple, 270. Rush hour traffic's pretty much cleared out. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Need an oil change at Jiffy Lube? Get it done in 15 minutes or less. No appointment necessary. Visit JiffyLubeDC.com for a location near you. Until 9, WTOP Traffic.
7 News First Alert Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson. Veronica, you've been on the lookout for the possibility of some rain and maybe even some heavy weather. What are you seeing right now?
Now we're pretty quiet, just a little isolated shower east of Front Royal. Otherwise, the heaviest weather is still back west of I-81. Right now, some of the strongest of storms currently in West Virginia. There's going to be sliding east, so we're going to have to still watch some areas like down around Orange, a little close to Culpeper, and Fredericksburg and Bowling Green as this part of the weather comes our way. From now until about 10 p.m., we've got that chance, folks, of getting an isolated heavy storm that could have some higher winds with it. Temperatures out there right now are in the mid-70s, upper 70s in a few neighborhoods. Will drop to about 71 to 75 degrees by late evening, and then overnight it's upper 50s to mid-60s. High temperature Friday, not going to be nearly as warm as today. We hit 81 degrees at 4 p.m. Tomorrow it's 70 for high temperature forecast, and there could be some wet weather throughout the morning rush. Pretty spotty throughout the area, but Again, the chance for wet weather and mostly cloudy skies, so it's not going to be a bright day tomorrow. On Saturday and Sunday, mostly cloudy also, with another weather maker moving in. This is actually the one that's going to help kick this one that is west of us out of here, keep it moving. We've got some showers for Saturday morning, some showers and storms for Sunday evening. We'll be in the lower 70s the upcoming weekend, so kind of like tomorrow. 80 currently in the district, 77 Oxon Hill, Maryland, Falls Church, and Lincoln now at 78 degrees.
Thank you, Veronica. We're brought to you by Mervis Diamonds.
The best diamonds in the world are waiting for you at Mervis Diamond Importers. For the largest diamond collection and the best value, visit Mervis. Nobody does retail anymore. Why should you? MervisDiamond.com.
Latest on the stock market meltdown next, 6:51.
Push for modernization begins with a 5-layer maturity model for digital transformation. Jameson Braun, the Vice President of Global Public Sector at Salesforce, discussed how this maturity model could allow the Defense Department to move faster.
Imagine if we had a way to communicate, collaborate, and document. So in that flow of work, that could go right to every single person at the decision-making level. And everybody had 3 critical variables: trust, transparency, and accountability.
Listen to the full interview on federalnewsnetwork.com. Introducing Agent Force, the AI-powered digital labor platform for government. With Agent Force, agencies can streamline operations, make faster data-driven decisions, and use proactive AI agents to multiply impact, all in a secure cloud environment. Empower your teams with the tools they need to build connections and serve America more efficiently. Agent Force, transforming federal service for a smarter, safer future. Learn more at salesforce.com/government. That's salesforce.com/government.
Longing to upgrade your outdoor living space this spring, but concerned about costs? Well, not only does Long Fence have the highest quality materials, an expert staff, and priceless designs, financing is available for qualified buyers. And right now, all fences, decks, and pavers are 25% off. Terms and conditions apply. Go to longfence.com for a free estimate today. There's a long time name for quality.
Check out WTOP's newest podcast, Founding DC. I'm Dan Simon, co-founder of Founding Farmers Restaurant Group and the host of Founding DC, a series of candid conversations with DMV entrepreneurs about nurturing an idea into a thriving business. Our mission? Pay it forward to current and aspiring entrepreneurs by spotlighting local founders who came before them. Founding DC is presented by NFP, an Aon company, delivering the insurance and risk management expertise, insight, and service you need. Learn more at nfp.com and sponsored by Schulman.
Breaking news on WTOP.
CBS News Special reported was the worst day on Wall Street in almost 5 years. The markets tanked the day after President Trump announced high tariffs on America's biggest trading partners and minimum tariffs on every other country. Today he said he's open to reducing or dropping the tariffs.
Depends. If somebody said that we can give you something that's so phenomenal, as long as they're giving you something that's good.
At the White House, CBS's Weijia Zhang says the president believes it will take time before a lot of companies begin making their products in the U.S.
He said that it will take about a year and a half or 2 years for manufacturing to get to where he wants it. That's really the first time he's attached a time frame.
The question is, will voters promised lower prices by Trump during the campaign be willing to wait that long? When the closing bell rang, the Dow was down almost 4%. The S&P 500 closed down almost 5%, and the NASDAQ ended the day down almost 6%. CBS News Special Report. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Election 2025 here on WTOP. A breaking development tonight in the race for Virginia governor. Former Republican State Delegate Dave LaRocque is dropping out. In a statement on X today, LaRocque says he fell short of the number of signatures needed to make it on the Republican primary ballot, getting only 9,000 of the 10,000 needed. Today is the deadline for candidates to submit their signatures to Virginia's Department of Defense. LaRocque's announcement means there are only 2 candidates in the Republican race for governor in Virginia, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears and GOP State Senator Amanda Chase, who calls herself Trump in heels.
Sports at 25 and 55. Powered by Maximus. Moving people and technology forward.
Steve Dresden here on the Obi Watch.
The Obi Watch is 3 goals to break the scoring record with 7 games left in the season. Caps return to action coming up tomorrow night at Capital One Arena. They'll host Chicago with 7 o'clock faceoff. Caps Thanks for reminding me the remaining home games are sold out. In the next 15 minutes, NBA action getting underway from downtown Wizards hosting Orlando. Baseball Nationals back to work tomorrow. That's when they'll begin a weekend series against Arizona. We did have American League action from earlier today at Camden Yards. The Red Sox beat the Orioles 8-4. Boston taking 2 of 3 from Baltimore. Steve Fresner, WTOP Sports.
Thanks, Steve. Coming up, we continue to watch and get reaction to Wall Street tanking today after President Trump's tariff announcement. We also have a mass stabbing that happened in the Trinidad neighborhood of Northeast D.C. this afternoon. Several people in the hospital. We'll bring you details on that, 6:56.
Operation Old Glory is Comcast's program where employees replace worn American flags in their communities free of cost.
The flag replacement program got started by a good friend of mine who's a Navy vet who saw a flag at the office that needed to be replaced and said, wouldn't this be great if this could be something that we did for anyone? Comcast has always been a community-driven company. This is one of those great examples of the way we're getting out there.
Comcast is proud to support the military community through programs like Operation Old Glory. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/military.
Selling a home the stress-free way. This is Dave Johnson. That's the Jennifer Young way, and I know that. Jennifer Young of Jennifer Young Homes has now sold 2 of my homes. Hey, listen to a story from older clients of Jennifer Young Homes. They really needed to sell. Yeah, property sold for $3,000 over the list price, all cash as is, a quick close. Speaking of stress-free, Jennifer guarantees to sell your home at price and deadline you agree to, or she'll find. Connect with Jennifer Young of Jennifer Young Homes at 877-641-SELL or online at jenniferyounghomes.com.
This is WTOP News. WTOP FM Washington. WWWTFM Manassas. WTLP FM Braddock Heights, Frederick.
It's 6:58. Dave Dildine in the traffic center.
In Virginia, George Washington Parkway southbound drivers headed in park past 123. Broken down car in the work zone, but stalling at a spot where there wasn't any room for any southbound traffic to get by. Just past Fort Marcy, northbound drivers do get by. On Route 123 at Fairfax County Parkway, it's a multi-car crash. At least 4 with moderate to heavy damage. Traffic on 123 getting by slowly to the right. Intermittent stoppages. Route 28 southbound delays into Manassas. Near Connor Drive, it was a rollover crash, and that was along the right side. Beltway, just some volume delays in the outer loop, Telegraph Road to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, and interloop from the Dulles Toll Road to the American Legion Bridge, and in Maryland, still slow on the inter from 355 past Connecticut. The WTOP Traffic Center is presented by Windowdation. Buy 4 windows, get 4 free. Visit windowdation.com. Dave Dildine, WTOP Traffic.
Steve Rudin on our forecast.
A few showers and isolated thunderstorms will dot radar moving through the evening and into the overnight as temperatures fall to the 70s, eventually settling down to the 60s inside the Beltway. Tomorrow, after a mild start, we're not going to see a whole lot of traction with temperatures, 65 to 70 degrees with a chance for showers. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rubin, the first alert weather center.
Nothing in the WTOP listening area just yet, but we do have some rain coming in from the west. We sit at 77 here in the nation's capital.
6:59.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
WTOP News. Facts matter.
Good evening. I'm Sean Anderson.
I'm Ann Kramer. Coming up.
6 victims are in the hospital after a mass stabbing in Northeast D.C., and police say they have a suspect in custody.
The Trump tariffs rattled Wall Street. Stocks fell sharply in one of the worst days for the market since the COVID pandemic.
Boycott or book it? Will the district see fewer Canadian visitors this summer? I'm Gigi Barnett.
Well, breaking news, there could be a primary in Virginia's race for the governor's seat.
A former Republican state senator says she has enough signatures to get on the ballot. We'll talk about it live with the Washington Post at 7:15.
WTOP at 7 o'clock.
Stocks nosedive on U.S. tariffs.
It's very, very uncommon to see markets sell off this much in one day.
President Trump not surprised.
I said this was exactly the way it is.
Severe weather wallop.
There are days more of rain ahead.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A day after announcing baseline and reciprocal tariffs, President Trump defends the move.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country's going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see is there any way they can make a deal.
The markets plunged today. The Dow down almost 4%. The S&P 500 fell almost 5%, and the NASDAQ just under 6%. This has been the worst day for the major stock indexes since 2020 during COVID. CBS's Kelly O'Grady says investors are spooked.
What they're also thinking is there's going to be the potential for higher prices, higher inflation, and maybe the consumer pulls back on spending. This was also not just Wall Street looking at how companies are going to do, but how Main Street is going to do.
The International Monetary Fund chief says the U.S. there are significant risks to the global economy and urges Washington to work with its trade partners. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says that his country will match the U.S.'s 25% automobile tariffs, but not impose them on auto parts.
We take these measures reluctantly, and we take them in ways that's intended and will cause maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact in Canada.
WWJ's Jeff Gilbert says Ford is bringing back employee pricing for all.
Ford says they understand we're in uncertain times, and there's concern that fears of higher prices will keep people away from dealerships.
Federal Judge James Boasberg says there's a fair likelihood that the Trump administration violated his order to turn around 2 planes carrying alleged Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. He suggests that he could move to hold the government in contempt of court. A destructive storm system across the Midwest and Mid-South has killed at least 7 people in Tennessee, Indiana, and Missouri. There were multiple tornadoes reported throughout the region. Western Tennessee was hit especially hard with rain. CBS's Nicole Valdez in Nashville.
A tornado in Lake City destroyed homes, cars, and trees, injuring more than a dozen people Wednesday.
I'm not afraid of storms, but it was a little bit scary.
In Selmer, Tennessee, dozens of funnel clouds left behind a trail of destruction in many neighborhoods. And in Nashville, heavy rainfall has caused significant flooding and several road closures.
The Pentagon Inspector General's office says it will evaluate Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's use of the Signal app to discuss strikes against the Houthis in Yemen last month, a text chain in which a journalist was inadvertently included. Now this.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's 7:03 on Thursday, April 3rd. 76 degrees, scattered showers and storms tonight. Good evening, I'm Nick Iannelli. The top local story we're following is a mass stabbing in Northeast D.C. It happened just a couple of hours ago, and several people had to be taken to the hospital. Let's go live to the scene now where we find WTOP's Scott Gelman. So, Scott, how serious was this, and how many people were injured?
Yeah, Nick, this all started around 3:30 here in the Trinidad neighborhood. It's a quiet residential street, Montello Avenue. 6 people in total, not including the suspect, were taken to the hospital with injuries that are police are describing as non-life threatening. Police say it all started when a man started stabbing himself and a woman he was walking with. That led to him, police say, stabbing several others, including 2 Good Samaritans who tried to stop him. And here's D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith.
This individual appeared to be in a mental, altered state of mind.
And Nick, the scene here is basically as if this didn't happen. There is no longer yellow caution tape. There's no longer a heavy police presence. It's just several of us here in the media and residents seemingly coming home after days here this afternoon. And as far as what may have led up to this, D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith held up a knife while she was talking to us reporters during a news conference. Here's what she had to say about that image.
The knife that I just shown you was recovered a few feet away from the suspect and is believed to be the weapon used in the assault.
And police say their investigation, even though there are not as many officers physically here, still ongoing. Reporting live in Northeast, Scott Gelman, WTOP News.
Okay, Scott, thank you. The other major story we're following is the Trump tariffs rattling Wall Street today. Financial markets around the world reeled following President Trump's latest and most severe set of tariffs. It was the worst day for stocks in years. Barry Glassman, president of Glassman Wealth Services, joined WTOP with advice for investors.
What I sometimes do during days or weeks like this is not look at the percentage or the dollar amount, but how much time did we give up in the market? And the markets, even after today, they're back to where they were last summer. So not even a year's worth of gains that we had seen in the market were erased over the past couple of weeks through today's close. It's awful, but it brings us back to where we were last summer. Great Recession, it erased years, almost a decade worth of gains. So we just need to put that into perspective. The other thing to consider is the market will continue to be volatile, especially until we have some greater knowledge of what damage the tariffs are going to cause. And my advice is don't risk what you can't afford to lose. So even after today's downturn, I would advise listeners, if they're invested in stocks and can keep long-term thinking and leave it invested, go ahead and do so. But if there's a chance that you're going to need the money in the next couple of months, money markets are still paying close to 4%. Go ahead and park it there and make sure that you have the dollars you need over the coming months.
The Dow dropped more than 1,600 points. The Nasdaq was down 6%. The S&P fell nearly 5%. President Trump's tariffs led to a quick reaction on Capitol Hill. A new Senate bill seeks to reassert congressional authority over matters involving tariffs and trade. More from WTOP's Mitchell Miller today on the Hill.
We cannot have arbitrary policies create chaos and uncertainty.
Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington State, who's proposing the legislation with Iowa Republican Chuck Grassley. The trade bill would require a president to give timely notification to Congress of plans to impose tariffs and for lawmakers to approve tariffs within 60 days. Maryland Senator Angela Alsobrooks this week also tried to get a separate bill passed that would require the International Trade Commission to study U.S. tariffs and their impact.
If these tariffs are so harmless to the American people, well, let's prove it.
Her attempt to pass the bill by unanimous consent was blocked by a GOP senator. On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
There's now tariff tension for Canadians looking to travel to the U.S. Canada sends more than 20 million visitors here every year. That's more than any other nation, but that number could dip. WTOP's Gigi Barnett talked with some Canadian visitors at Dulles International Airport.
Lena Despigel is a university exchange student in Canada who booked her trip to Washington, D.C. today before the Trump administration's widespread tariffs took place. She just flew in from Ottawa